Pacific Railroad, the railroad police, and investigating what happened. We don't know exactly how this happened yet, but we're still trying to figure that all out. And that's going to take some time for us to figure those details out. But the main thing is nobody was hurt. All we have here is property damage today, which is a blessing when you have a train derailment. We don't have any dangerous chemicals that are on these at all. So it really is, when you think of train derailments, we've got a blessing here today, and that everything is minimal, other than a lot of property damage. There were 29 cars that were derailed this afternoon, and fortunately the personnel that were on the train were not injured either. So really it is a blessing that none of that happened. We've got a great crew, and I want to put out a special thanks right up here at the top of this conference to all the emergency personnel that came out here. It's the 4th of July and Independence Day. They're out there working hard to make sure that everybody is safe, make sure nobody was injured, and take care of the situation. And it's warm out today. And so they're out there in their turnout gear and working hard. So I really want to give a huge shout out to those first responders that came out here today to take care of this scene. And very, very thankful for that, and for their families at home for allowing them to volunteer to take care of this scene. As far as traffic goes, I mentioned you can't get through Reeseville right now. We are asking the public to stay out of Reeseville. Allow the residents to get around. There's some back streets and things that they can get around. But if you're not from Reeseville, stay out of the village for today. We are anticipating that the road, Highway G, is going to be closed for anywhere from 3 to 6 more hours. So it's going to be difficult traveling through here. We do have a detour set up on the north end, Highway 16 and 60. From Highway G, you can go down to Double B, go all the way down to 19, and cut back over to G. We want to avoid all that semi-traffic coming through the village here today. And as soon as we get the road opened up again, we will put something out to you on our social media page, media releases, letting everybody know that road is opened up again. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the Assistant Fire Chief to tell you what was on the train, if there's any other details that I may have missed. Chris?
My name is Chris Abel, Deputy Chief with the CLR. The cars that derailed were carrying grain and pot ash. There was one hazardous car that was empty. It was a residual petroleum product, not involved with the derailment. There was no diesel released. Neither of the locomotives were involved. So as far as a spill goes, there's nothing to worry about, no contaminants. The response was quick from our department. We got dispatched. Finding it, getting access was difficult due to the rural location of it, but we got in there. We called for mutual aid resources, ATVs, drones, and were able to secure the scene fairly quickly. And as the sheriff said, no hazardous materials, no injuries.
A couple other things I have for you, and then I'll open up to questions. Obviously, we have a train derailment here, and with that, there are environmental concerns. We did have the DNR on scene with us here today, and we were not able to identify anything really that was a cause of concern for the DNR. And really, that's where we're at today, and certainly we are open to answer any questions that you guys may have.
Any obvious cause of the derailment?
We're still looking at that. We don't have any obvious cause. It's going to take a while to get that all figured out, investigate, talk with the individuals who are on the train. No witnesses to really give us a what happened. Witnesses that saw the after effects, but nothing really as far as what happened.
No damage to the tracks that you could see or anything like that?
The tracks are definitely damaged. That is a point that I would like to make to the residents here in the village of Reeseville. Please stay away from those tracks. We don't know if there is any tension on those tracks. And if something were to happen and something were to snap, we don't want anybody to be near that. We don't anticipate that, but we're trying to keep people away from the tracks so that we can really get that established to see, is there a danger to the public. As long as you stay clear of the tracks, you should be fine, though.
No hazardous materials, but a train still derailed. What does the cleanup process look like?
That's a great question for Canadian Pacific. Unfortunately, because they were traveling here, they just got here, they weren't able to join me here to provide any assistance with that as far as information. What I can tell you is they've got a lot of heavy equipment that is coming into the village here to take care of that. And I'm not an expert on trains and cleanup of trains, so I'll have to save that for Canadian Pacific. Maybe if you send something to their media folks, they can get back to you on that.
Like you said, small area.
anything like this ever happened before?
We've had train derailments around the area before. As long as I've been sheriff, we haven't had one in Dodge County, just south of the county, in Watertown. They happen, usually not necessarily to this extent because there's 29 cars and it's a mess. And I sent out a picture to the media and to our social media so you can see a small portion of what it looks like. It's a mess, so it's going to take them a while to clean that portion up. Thankfully, that's out of town and isn't in the village here, and the ones that are in the village should be able to be moved.
Do you know where the train was coming from, where it was going to?
You have any of that? I don't have any of that information right now. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, we are anticipating anywhere from 3 to 6 hours before they're going to be able to get that train removed from the village here, so people can get in through town. We just ask people to stay out of the village or follow those detour routes.
Thank you. Are you aware of any issues with Amtrak travel on the holiday?
Certainly that's something that they're going to have to work around because the Amtrak train does come through here and they're not getting through. So that most likely, I would imagine, would cause some delays or cancellations, and that's something Amtrak's going to have to work through. Any other questions? All right, everybody, thank you. And be safe and try to enjoy the rest of your 4th of July.
Sheriff, is there any way